Coming up on All About Android, it's me, Jason Howell, Florence Ion, and Ron Richards. We're just hanging out, doing our thing. We got a lot to talk about, too. Android 12 features. XDA did a little teardown of an unreleased version of it. It has some features that we talk about. Also, Samsung's next Unpacked event, which doesn't sound so Android-y, but we have some details. New devices by Sony, ZTE, Lenovo, Redmi, and a prototype by TCL that folds and rolls. Plus, we answer your email and more next on All About Android.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Headspace. Devoting just a few minutes per day to focus on your thoughts can change your life. Headspace is the easy-to-use app that can help you sleep, focus, act, and just be better. Go to headspace.com/AAA for a free 1-month trial. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 521, recorded Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. Well, it's a lot of 20s and 2021s and all that stuff. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion. Blaze it up. I'm really sorry.
You went there.
I couldn't commit.
I didn't start by saying 420. I said April 20th. Like I did the shortcut around it so that the
I figured I would just go for it. We're one of the night shows at Twit, so I figured
true.
You know, and it wasn't technically a curse word, so
okay, that's true. You know, we have to imagine
we are based in California. Yeah, you know, and Ron's totally home state just legalized, so just blaze it up.
I'm not talking about it. I'm just thinking. I just feel like we're better than today. That's all. I just feel like So.
Look, we're throwing this out there to our fans who do enjoy before every episode of All About Android, and to you, we salute you. So there you go.
Thank you.
All right, in no way related to that, in other news, unless you've been living under a rock or not, haven't checked out any other shows on the Twit network in the past couple of days, you may have already heard, but if you haven't, I'm going to tell you about Club Twit. Want to let you know a little bit about it. We just launched this. We're super excited about it. It's a members-only, ad-free podcast service. So basically, it's a way to subscribe to Twit content and get all of our content ad-free. So you can do that. You also get a Twit Plus feed, which if you've ever tuned in live, sometimes some of the best stuff happens before the show. Actually, today was a prime example. We had a really great conversation about the Apple event, and that went in a bunch of different directions. It was a lot of fun. A lot of times the pre and post show can be really entertaining, enjoyable, informative, and just kind of weird. So we've got a new feed that's members only, Twit Plus, where you're going to get all that as well as some bonus content that we record throughout the weeks. And then you also get access to an exclusive members only Discord channel that we're digging into. That's a lot of fun as well. So anyways, want to tell you right up at the top, you can check it out for yourself. $7 a month. Be one of the first to join Club Twit and see and help us build it, because it's really designed for you, the hardcore fans who love the Twit content that we're doing. This is a way for you to pitch in and get access to some new cool stuff. It's twit.tv/clubtwit. twit.tv/clubtwit.
And it's important to note
that. Now, I have a question about Club Twit.
What's
I need
that?
to ask.
Okay.
Will there be club music?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess if we come to the pre-show of All About Android armed with club music to play during the pre-show, then yes.
All About Android Studio 54.
It's what you make of it, Flo. It's what you make of it. But it's important to note, everybody, that we're all in the Discord. We're chatting it up, and not just during the show, but popping in between episodes and all that stuff. And so it is definitely a cool place to be. So hope to see you there.
Yeah, and also important to note that nothing changes for anyone else. So if you enjoy getting All About Android with ads for free, nothing changes. We're not changing anything. We've just added this additional kind of way for you to subscribe to the content, get it ad free, and get all those extras as well. If you're just subscribed to the feed like you have for the last 10 years of the show's existence, or any show on Twit, and you're popping into the chat room during our live show, whatever we happen to be doing, IRC chat, all that stuff stays the same. So there's no changes there. So don't worry, nothing's changing. It's just kind of some new stuff sprinkled on top.
Another option. So
yeah, there you go.
Additional treats. Additional treats.
That's right. So that's twit.tv/clubtwit. And there you go. All right. I think we can do it now. We've got some news to report. I don't have my papers on my desk, but I'll pretend like I do as we transition to the news.
Always bringing good news, man. Android news.
Jason, your news reference made me think of the old Muppets newscaster. Like the glasses and the blazer, and just today's news.
Wasn't he always frowning too?
He was always flustered. He was always very. It was very flustered. Anyway,
okay.
So Android 12, our good friends over at XDA Developers got an unreleased version of it that has some more hints of what's to come. So there's some juicy little nuggets here for you of what to expect in Android 12. I'm still thrown off and not used to talking about this in April, by the way. This is all it's just too much for me to handle. So the interesting things from Android 12 that you can expect possibly are the recycle bin or trash can. This was introduced in Android 11 but has not been user accessible. So those of Windows 95 fans or Mac OS fans will have a trash can soon. With Android 12, users might have direct access to the trash can inside of apps. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. They also saw hints of app hibernation, meaning unused apps might have temporary data like a cache automatically deleted when an app hasn't been used in a specific amount of time. So almost like a healthy cleanup. You haven't used this app, we're going to wipe out the cache or the temporary items to not take up space, which is kind of smart and kind of cool. And this follows in the footsteps of the auto revoke permissions feature that launched in Android 11. And finally, Android 12 will likely be able to automatically translate an app's UI to the user's native language, which just sounds like magic. That's leveraging the great things about Google Translate and all that Google has behind it. But talk about an accessibility tool. If English isn't your first language, you are not gated by the app developer making a non-English version of their app. That's amazing. So.
I'm curious on that last one, how deep that goes, because I know the article from XDA. Now, this is all based on a teardown, so of a unreleased version, like you said. So things could change. This could be pushed off to Android 13. Who the heck knows? But they mentioned that it's limited to UI elements, and I'm trying to think, like, there's probably other aspects of an app that wouldn't get translated if that's the case, if it's just limited to the UI. But they've included some photos. About halfway down the article, Burke, if you go to that article, and it's just cool to see, like, this article is
which article?
The translation article. It's the last link in that block, and just like reaches right into the app and does this on the fly translation, which with like menu items. That, I mean, I suppose if you looked at the icons, you could probably figure it out. Like the middle one is kind of like a menu that's been translated, but it's just like I wouldn't know that I was looking at a translated app on the example on the right side. So it's just kind of cool. It's like that Google magic. That Google magic.
I like it.
Yeah, pretty neat.
It seems neat. Again, like you said, they could not make the final cut. Like, it's still so early. We're still in the middle of the developer previews and all that sort of stuff. But that seems like a cool feature. I think the hibernate stuff is cool. The trash can, I don't know. I mean, like, I rarely delete something where I'm like, oh, I want to get that back, but I guess someone could use it. I mean, I don't know, Flo, do you think that we need a recycle bin like Windows 95?
It was a feature that was, and actually still is, on some other versions of Android. So I think RIP LG's quote unquote OS was using it. And I forgot what other brands, but I mean, in theory, it's fine. It's really not any different than just dragging and immediately uninstalling. But I do like the just immediacy of being able to do that. Also, a little note on that feature that automatically translates apps. I wonder if that's going to depend on just like the elements that they're trying to translate. Just like the way that material is broken down, the way like the UIs are broken down in an app. Like I'm very excited for that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big opportunity for developers, right? And maybe not necessarily in the US. I think certainly there are apps that are in other languages than English that it would be helpful. But I have to imagine there are an insane amount of apps in English that aren't in other languages that folks in other countries finally have access to through a feature like this. I don't know. I think anybody that has experienced that is going to be really happy to see that that's an option, given it works as well as I feel like it seems to when I'm using it through the web. What do you guys think? Like, I know I've seen some pushback even in the comments on this article where they're like, well, if it works, as well as it does on the web, this is going to be a disaster. Meanwhile, I've had like great experience translating pages on the fly. What about you?
Yeah, same here. I just did it earlier today. In fact, I was looking up something in Portuguese Brazil, and I was like, translate, and I could understand what it was. It was great. Like, I don't know. I mean, my exposure to it has been limited. I don't do it often. I probably can count on one hand the number of times I've done it in the past 2 weeks. But it seemed, I mean, if you think about where we were with translation 5 years ago, right? I think it's come a long way, and they've got to have confidence if they're going to roll this sort of feature out. I don't know. I think it's fun, but I'm sure there's always detractors. There's always detractors. So
of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ron, go.
Oh no, after you, Jason.
Well, I was just going to say the very first link. So Burke, the very first link is kind of the main article that Michal Rahman, who posted about this and got access to this version of Android, it's kind of like his full detailed rundown. So some of these things that we talked about are touched upon in there. If you scroll down about a third or do a search for quick setting tile, you'll see. Yeah, keep scrolling. Sorry, audio listeners. There you go. You just passed it. Okay, up one more. And you can kind of see it there, but these sliders. So we're also starting to see some indicators, no pun intended, on kind of like changes to the UI. And I don't know how much of what we see there is a result of like customization, like a user goes in there and says, I want this slider to be really fat or whatever. But this is a big change if this is kind of like default UI changes. I'm curious to know what you guys think about kind of the visual kind of refresh aspect of what we're starting to see more of with Android 12.
I mean, a slippery slope, right? I mean, we just for 2 weeks we railed on LG for this very thing, right?
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to be curious, and again, it's going to be in the same vein of what you were talking about, Ron. Like some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it because change is hard, and anything different than what they were used to is not good enough for me, in air quotes. So
it's also chunky.
Really it is chunky, yeah.
It's chunky. Like I don't like. I'm sorry, I hate saying this because. I recognize that there are like teams of people behind all of this, but from what I'm seeing in these teaser shots, I'm just not quite feeling it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. And, again, reiterating, because if anyone who was working on this is watching right now, they're probably yelling it at the screen right now. This isn't even meant to be seen by anybody. You know what I mean? Right. They're still working on all this stuff. And that's the thing with the kind of the developer preview aspect that we have with the last few years of Android is that we get to see these developments as they happen. And many times we'll see things early on that end up getting reversed or touched up in a way that later you're like, okay, I'm so happy it ended there because where it started was really, fugly. So, So, anyways, we'll see where it all ends up. But.
I mean, fugly is a little harsh. It's not fugly.
Wow.
It's just
wow.
It's thick. It's
thick. THICC.
Yeah, there you go.
No, because being thick usually THICC usually resonates as something plump and plushy, and I don't quite know that.
Okay.
This really looks like a thick Sharpie. Just.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Right across the screen.
Never hold this against the final product. Again, this never keeps me from installing the next version of Android. So
totally. I'm looking forward to it. Even based on what I'm seeing here, I'm looking forward to a little bit of a visual kind of stirring of the pot.
Make sense. It'll make sense, I bet, in terms of like a whole experience.
Yeah. Robot in chat says it's a very bold bar. Bold's a good word for that bar. It is very bold. Okay. All right. Well, as for Android 11, we've talked so many times on this show about scoped storage. It's the gift that keeps on giving all the way back to Android 10 when it almost happened and then it didn't. And then it came back in Android 11 and everybody was upset. But it was implemented a little bit better this time. Well, it brought with it the inability for apps to see files and directories outside of their own kind of explicit sandbox, which is more secure, right? But the challenge with scope storage has been for developers, how do we get the feature set that we're used to offering to our users when we don't have access to the entire file structure? And so it's kind of that balance, that trade-off between proper security, securing those files so that the wrong app can't get it, and functionality, and ultimately in many ways it ends up reducing functionality, especially for file managers, as you can imagine. If file managers were playing ball with scope storage, they'd have a really hard time because they'd only be managing a small subset of the actual files on the device. So apparently they were told by Google to continue targeting Android 10's API levels. That was so they could continue doing what they were doing. And they would be forced to opt into scope storage down the line. Well, we're kind of there now. We're almost there now. Google's notifying developers that on May 5th, they must tell Google why their app requires that wide storage access ahead of the November deadline, which is kind of like the official time that the switch flips. If they don't have it in place at that point, they're not going to be able to target those Android 11 APIs, and they're going to be out of luck. I don't know if that means the app is pulled or what that means, but anyways, Google says you got to do it. So Google's now telling those developers that they will be able to request all file access with Android 11 if they are creating a file manager. It would, of course, get reviewed and everything. So I think ultimately this is a story with hopefully a happy ending for file managers that want to stay up to date on current APIs and still offer, well, a file manager as an app. So that's good news, I think.
And it is good news because I feel like a file manager app is a place where I wouldn't want the Google File Manager app that you only can use. Like, I want to see the innovation that app developers, like so many that we've talked to on this show, could bring to the concept of a file manager. And so I'm glad that there's a nice Google recognizes that and giving them a little room to maneuver. So,
I mean, it would be pretty darn silly if at the end of the day, Google was like, sorry, file managers, you can only look at the files that you create. They're like, all right, Google, no, you really do need to figure this out because file managers are a utility that everybody expects to have access to on computing devices. End of story. So yeah, good news.
Good news all around. Good news all around. Hey, Samsung teased some good news.
You're just so happy because you're the Samsung fan club leader, right? Or that was
such a big fan.
That's a joke that probably needs to die at this point. We've had that joke for too long.
Yeah, I mean, if you were listening to the pre-show, you know that like I'm super dubious about Samsung versus. Anyway, listen to the pre-shows. So Samsung, speaking of, it has announced that it's doing another Unpacked event this year, and this time it is teasing the most powerful Galaxy device. Now, maybe looking at the little render, you might think, oh, gee, could it be a Galaxy Z Fold 3? There have been rumors that it was going to launch in July, but we're not quite there yet. So it's more likely a new lineup of Galaxy laptops. Yes.
Okay.
We are due for a Galaxy Book lineup of laptops. The current models that we have right now on the stands are from 2019, so they're really due for an update. And what I'm very excited for is the possibility of some new Samsung Chromebooks, because I am in the market to finally, I have to think about updating, my Pixel Book, and I'm kind of thinking Samsung might have something for us. So I hope that's what we can see. Also expected is a Smart Keyboard Trio 500 accessory that pairs with 3 devices at once, a button to switch between them, and hotkeys for favorite apps. So, like a lot of wireless keyboards that you can get, could be really handy for the decks as well. Maybe Samsung's still trying to push that ecosystem. And the event, mark your calendars, is April 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. 7 a.m. for Jason.
Yeah, probably not going to get a whole lot of Android at that event, but you never know. Samsung may surprise. I think I saw that they've got a new tablet that's kind of making the rumor mill rounds. Although I think that's expected more early summer. So probably not going to happen at this event, but you just never know. Like Apple, Samsung's always trying to be like Apple. Who knows? They might have one more thing that surprises. But yeah. All
probably
right.
Chromebooks.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, laptops, Chromebooks. I mean, even the teaser image. I mean, there's no way to look at that teaser image and not see a laptop of some sort of form factor there. So, anyways, well, that's a different one. There's a teaser image on the invite that's like a silhouetted thing. But anyways, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode of All About Android. And I am thrilled to have Headspace back on the network. Why? Because I never stopped using Headspace from the last time they were on. They're awesome. Headspace is just a really fantastic service, fantastic app for meditation and for mindfulness. That's what it's all about. You probably tried meditation before. And if you have, maybe it worked for you, maybe it didn't, or maybe you felt like you were doing it wrong, or you couldn't shut your mind up. That's the problem I think a lot of people have when they get into meditating is, how do I get my mind to stop talking to me when I'm trying to focus on nothing? And that's kind of part of the journey, to be honest. But if mental health is part of your self-care plan this year, and boy, do you owe it to yourself to do a little self-care this year, you should try Headspace. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness. It's in the form of guided meditations in just a simple to use app. It's one of the only meditation apps that's really advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So, whatever your situation, this is kind of the beauty of Headspace is when you log into Headspace, into your Headspace account, they've got all these different sections that really kind of focus on different aspects of your life. If you feel overwhelmed or if you're tired, having a hard time sleeping, they've got all these different kind of scenarios or mind states or kind of purposes for some of these meditations. They've got a pro series that's all about teaching you how to meditate without prompts, which is just really valuable if you follow through the pro series. I mean, there's a bunch of those. You just get really good at being a pro with meditation. Headspace has a 3-minute SOS meditation for you if you're feeling overwhelmed. Like I said, if you need help falling asleep, they have wind down sessions that their members swear by, so you can kind of calm yourself before you go to sleep. For parents, I've thought about this. How do I get my kids in on the mindfulness thing? They used to do it at school. How can I bring them into my mindfulness practice? Well, Headspace has morning meditations that you can do with your kids as well. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve your sleep, boost focus, increase your overall sense of well-being. That's really the main reason you meditate. You would use Headspace is to just improve your well-being. For a mood-boosting workout, check out Headspace Move. Just 30 days of Headspace lowers stress by 32%, and just 4 sessions can reduce burnout by 14%. I just love Headspace. You should check it out. It's backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, over 60 million downloads. Headspace makes it super easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you. And best of all, it works on your schedule anytime, anywhere. You can go in there and say, you know what, I only have 5 minutes. And it'll give you, or I only have 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever it may be. And you can get a meditation that can land in that time. You deserve to feel happier. And Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/AAA and check it out. That's headspace.com/AAA. You do that, you're going to get a free 1-month trial, and you're going to get that full access. All of Headspace's library of meditations for every situation, everything I've talked about, and a whole lot more. It's the best deal offered right now. So head to headspace.com/AAA today and check it out for yourself. And yeah, it's great to have Headspace back. I love having sponsors on this network that I use all the time. Headspace is definitely one of them. I love it. So you should check it out. Headspace.com/AAA. All right. And now that we are centered and grounded, it's time for some hardware. Oh, hello, Sony. Welcome back with your premium flagship phones. Sony announced the new Xperia 12 Mark III, which is essentially its 2021 flagship device. And it's got a few powerful aspects to it. So first of all, 6.5-inch, 120 hertz 4K display. So that's an upgrade from the last one. That's good. It is a premium device, so you're going to get your Snapdragon 888. You're going to get your 12 gigs of RAM in there as well. And it has a Zeiss-powered quad camera system. These are pretty awesome lenses. 24 millimeter main wide lens. It's got a 16 millimeter ultra wide. It also has, and this is really interesting, a dual PD variable optics center, which basically means, sensor, which means that the telephoto lens can shift between 70 millimeters and 105 millimeters of focal length while retaining focus. So it's kind of like a transformer in your camera. Pretty neat. Also, and this one I understand a little bit less. Maybe the two of you understand this more than I do, but DP Review, which has some pretty trusted reviews of camera hardware and stuff, say they are most excited about the device because it has the first camera system ever to snap 20 pics per second while simultaneously performing temporal noise reduction on every single frame. So I think this is just like an overhead. So 20 pictures every second with noise reduction on each.
Temporal, what was that again? Can you read that again?
Yeah.
Temporal noise reduction.
So so can you travel through time with that? With temporal noise reduction?
Yeah.
Isn't temporal time? Isn't that
what?
Yeah.
Or does it mean my temporal?
No, temporal is like time travel, right? Temporal or temporal lobe. What does temporal mean?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, temporal lobe.
If it has to do with time, maybe that's a reference to the fact that it's so fast at its noise reduction that it can do 20 pictures per second. And that's the phone has the hardware obviously to support that, which is apparently a first.
So the dictionary definition of temporal is relating to time. So example, the spatial and temporal dimensions of human interference in complex ecosystems, or relating to worldly as opposed to spiritual affairs, secular. So I think it's probably the time one, not the secular one.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. I'm wondering if temporal could just be removed from that.
Maybe it's a camera and you take a picture of someone, but it takes a picture of them in the past.
Yes, it's like
or the future.
The problem where you take the picture and you're always like a second late. And it's like, no, we time travel for you. You always get the picture.
We're minimizing the temporal noise in your photos, and you can adjust the setting. So I would like my camera to take pictures of everyone 5 years younger than they actually are in the photos themselves. This is actually all the makings for a really good sci-fi story, and I hope someone who can write better than I will take it and run with it, because the idea of a mobile phone whose camera is like you take a picture and you can see what you took a picture of in the past or the future that'd be cool. That's a cool story.
Yeah. Yep.
Good idea.
Dan Morin, if you're listening, Dan Morin, that idea is for free. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
And the thing is that you have to use the Sony Xperia to make this happen.
So let's see here. Anything else? Oh, it can also do the thing that the Xperia Pro, remember we talked about that, and is really expensive, but it could also be an external monitor, camera monitor.
Sure.
Because it had an HDMI in. What I read here said that it can also be used as an external camera monitor. I did not see a specific reference to an HDMI in, but I imagine that means it has one. But there's no pricing on this yet, and no availability outside of summer 2021. So maybe it is, going to be priced similarly to the Xperia Pro, which off the top of my head, I want to say it was something like $2,500, somewhere around there. I don't know. Somebody finds that valuable, and Sony, Sony, I understand why Sony does it. It really ties into their camera ecosystem really nicely. So, yeah.
Cool.
So there you go.
That's a big old phone. It looks like it's a big phone.
Phone.
Yeah, I mean we're looking on, for those watching the video, not this photo, Burke, but the previous one of the person holding the camera with the phone. Camera looked enormous, and the phone looked enormous in that shot.
Which is bigger, the camera or the phone with a camera in it?
Yeah, that one doesn't that? Yeah. That phone looks enormous, doesn't it? Like,
scale. So. Yeah, it really does. It probably is to scale too. I mean, that's a tall drink of water. That is like a tall.
I mean, I would like
phone.
Jason. I would like to see you holding that phone. Because that's the normal good scale, because you are so tall, and like a big phone looks normal and a small phone looks small. But anyway, so So
all right, challenge accepted. I don't know that I'm going to buy one, but if Sony sends me one, I will happily hold their phone and maybe even review it too. Just saying.
Yeah. So for people who are watching the video, Jason's sitting down, but in real life he's extremely tall. He's like 7'8". And it's really impressive. Yeah, there it is. Yep, there it is. So
Heather. Yeah, what? Bring it.
All right. Okay. So moving on, TCL, the exciting manufacturer, unveiled a new family of phones, the 20L, the 20L Plus, and the 20 Pro 5G. Because if you don't have a phone with 5G in this name, you're not really a phone manufafacturer.
Yeah, you don't want to be left behind.
Exactly. But all three of these devices are affordable and have quad camera setups, but they are decidedly mid-range offerings that range from 229 to 549 euros. So this is an affordable line of phones, which is nice. I mean, which is like quad cameras at an affordable price. That seems okay. That's all right. But I don't know. Instead of those, how about a concept device from TCL called the Fold and Roll, which gives you not one, not two, but 3 display sizes in one device. So it starts off like a phone at 6.87 inches, and then unfolds like the Z Fold into an 8.85 inch display, but then it unrolls, resulting in a 10-inch display. So it's folding, it's rolling, and you get 3 displays in the Fold and Roll.
Oh my goodness.
This is fantastic. Before you get too excited by the fold and roll, it's important to note that TCL hasn't shipped any of their previous foldable prototypes. And
they've had a lot too.
Yeah, we talk a lot about them, and yet none have come to fruition. But given the level of marketing put into this fold and roll concept video, maybe this is the one. And I got to say, if you're going to do a foldable, why stop at 2 sizes? Go all the way for 3. That's my thought. So it's a phone. It's a square, and it's a tablet all in one. I don't know what to call that middle one.
Yeah, what is the middle one? If there's a phone and there's a tablet and then there's a middle point, is that a phablet?
I know what it is. Obviously,
phone,
obviously,
tablet?
it's a phone, a tablet, and the middle one.
Oh, okay. That's what it is.
It's probably
every company's going to want a middle one coming soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, from a naming nomenclature perspective, phone, phablet, and tablet makes sense if phablet didn't already mean tablet, right? Didn't it?
Right.
No, phablet. No, that actually might actually be accurate.
Tablet. Phone, tablet. It was
but phone, tablet.
But then phones became phablets. Like phones were small.
Samsung made them phablets because Samsung needed that marketing, and then everybody just like everybody folded and rolled it with it.
Folded and rolled it with it. Yeah, it's true. Well put.
I like it for what it's worth. I like it. Fold and roll.
Yeah, I do too.
It's cute. It's like unassuming. It doesn't take itself super seriously, and the form factor looks cute. But I don't necessarily know that I would feel comfortable having my phone. I don't like the backwards folding. To me, that's scary. It's so
with the display
vulnerable.
folding in on itself. Is that what you're talking about? With the display folding in on itself, or with this display on the outside? Which one are you talking about? Or you just don't like the folding in general?
No. The way it folds like backwards instead of folding closed to hide the main folding part.
Oh, so you don't like it when it folds out.
Samsung, I love the way Samsung does it. I think it's great the way they do it. But this way, and also I think it was like the Huawei phone or Xiaomi, I think. Like that scares me because it rolls. Yeah, it's exposed.
Yeah, right. On the outside. Gotcha. It's, it's confusing with all the folding and rolling going on. So,
I mean,
you got to know when to fold them, know when to hold them. Yeah, that joke.
You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to roll them. I love it. That's great. That wins for the night.
We have to thank TCL for this.
Thank you, TCL, for your wild and wacky ideas that we love. Now just make one an actual phone, please. There we go.
I know.
All right, Flo, you got
just
the last
release
one.
it. Release it. Give a price. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Give it to us.
Well, speaking of being released, ZTE is bringing the Axon 30 Ultra 5G to the US and Canada. Isn't that nice? This is a high-end device with Snapdragon 888, 8 or 12 gigs of RAM, a 6.67-inch OLED display with up to 144 hertz refresh rate. It has 3 64-megapixel cameras on the back. That includes, oh my gosh, 164-megapixel f/1.6 main camera, 164-megapixel with an f/1.9 lens camera, and a 64-megapixel ultra-wide.
That's a whole lot of 64 megapixels.
I needed to breathe. Also, a 5-time optical zoom. So zoom in 5 times. No pricing for this one though.
Not a 5-time like time travel. I just want a phone that does time travel. Does anyone realize this? That this is.
I know. There's a lot of.
I want a phone. I want a phone that does that minimizes temporal noise and rolls and folds and sends me back to 1986. Can I get that?
That doesn't exist, Ron, and I don't know how it's going to. But you've identified a part of the market that you can capture, and you can make buckets of money if you can figure this out.
Hang on, I can plus this up. We'll make the phone rugged.
Oh, okay. That should be easy.
A rolling, folding, rugged time travel phone.
See, and here's the thing: with all of those features, you might get into your R&D and get down the road and realize there are certain things that you have to let go of. You at least know that you can pull off the rugged part.
Right, exactly.
The other stuff might not happen, but you'll still have a product.
So wait. If we go back to 1986, what happens to me? Because then I disappear.
Oh, yeah, you start fading in the photo. That's true.
Well, it depends what month you go in, but yes, then I disappear.
Okay.
Oh, well, I don't want that.
We don't want that. So we'll go 1 year later.
Thanks, guys.
We'll go to 87.
Just give me 87, all right?
You got it. All right.
Although if I go back with you guys before 1986, then there is no way that I would run into my former baby self.
Yeah, that's That's a really good point. You don't want to do that. That is supposedly a really bad idea. We'll noodle on this a little bit. We'll chew on it.
I'm just saying, if Ron wants this and is manifesting it, I just want to make sure that I'm a part of it. So, making sure that happens.
Yeah, we all want to benefit from this a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were there when it happened. All right. We are not done with hardware news. Oh no, we've got gaming phone news up next. And Ron, you've got the first of 2 gaming phone stories. This is a category that I'm continually kind of interested in because I never see them, but apparently they're a thing because more of these are coming out every day.
I'm with you. And again, we have to put out a call to our wonderful All About Android community. If you are someone that would be interested in this phone or any of these category phones, please write in at AAA@twit.tv because we want to hear from you, especially if you're interested.
I was just going to tack on that. If you are emailing us, if you have one of these phones, what I'm really curious about is oh yeah, of course. Share a photo, please. But I really want to know, okay, so I have this phone and this is the game that I need it for. What is the game that you need this phone for?
Yep.
Anyways.
Good question.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so tell us if you use the phone and what game to use it for. But that said, you might be in the market for Lenovo and the Legion Phone Duel 2. We're just throwing words together, by the way. The Legion Phone Duel 2. It's a high-end gaming phone that you could say looks unique. Those of you watching the video, you'll see it in a moment. But it's a 6.92 inches high-res, 144 hertz display, 2 batteries, full charge, up to 8 hours of intermittent gameplay, 2 USB-C ports, one on the side and one on the bottom. 2 cooling fans. No wonder that it's the Legion Phone Duel 2, which is funny because Duel and 2 are anyway. Duel DUEL, not DUAL.
Maybe it's 2-2.
Yeah. It's got a pop-up selfie cam in the center when in landscape mode. And it's running the Snapdragon 888 with 18 gig of RAM. Is that correct? 18 gig.
Oh. It's 16 or 18, but either way, it's a lot.
Yeah, a huge centered camera bump. In case you're curious about that, and this sucker sells for between 799 and 999 euros, which is 999 euros to USD is $1,200 US. This phone is the real deal, and I think that the fact that it's got 2 batteries, 2 cooling fans, 2 USB-C ports. And it's clear that the USB-C ports I've got to assume are for accessories, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be for
gaming and streaming. Maybe you're hooking up to an Elgato streaming deck or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Could also be if you are playing a game that's portrait and you want to be plugged in, you want that power at the bottom. If you're playing a game that's landscape and you want to be plugged in, you want that power at the bottom still too. I wonder if the extra accessories aspect, what that looks like. That's a good idea.
I will say that they didn't go as far as they could have gone because they could have made this fold in half. And
2 screens.
Yeah, 2 screens. Yeah, why didn't you? Yeah, so
true.
Lenovo, you still got room to grow. So.
The Legion. It is an interesting looking device. Yeah. Doesn't look like the kind of phone you want to set down on a table though, with a bump in the middle. If you're putting it on the table, it's probably fine as long as you never touch it because it'll just flop all around anytime you try and tap on it.
Like a mud kip.
Yep. But we're not stopping here. We're not stopping here. No Flo, right? There's another gaming phone.
There is, and here's the thing: is that when Jason originally wrote the notes for this, he was thinking, why not? But I'm thinking, this makes sense with everybody just trying to have something like the Nintendo Switch. I mean, there's a reason the Nintendo Switch is #1 selling console forever and ever. Now, this Switch wannabe comes from Redmi. So they have this gaming phone in the works, And it has spring-loaded shoulder buttons. So very similar to that right and left, little trigger that you do on the Switch controller. Now, the Redmi K40 series is what you would go and Google if you're curious about this. Redmi published a teaser on Weibo, which is a Chinese social networking site, which shows off a dedicated game mode slider on the side of the phone. So instead of maybe like a automatic game mode like you would get on the OnePlus, for instance, when you immediately go into a game, I imagine this would do something a little more than just silence notifications and go into full screen. Oh, yes. Once activated, shoulder buttons pop out from the corners of the device. That is cool.
Look at those shoulder buttons. I'll pop out stuff.
That's crazy.
That's gamer catnip.
Yeah, right. Totally is. Totally. Well, other gaming phones have allowed or have enabled shoulder buttons, but they're usually of the kind of capacitive touch variety. So this gives you a little bit of that kind of that tactile feedback when you're pushing the buttons, at least. I have to imagine that certain gamers are going to love that.
This phone is going to debut in China on April 27. And again, I have to note, remember, esports is a really big deal outside of some of our Venn diagram circles of community. And I have a feeling that, this is going to get, this looks fun. I wonder if Mateo can sneak us one.
When he's flying again,
flying. We have to give him a list. It's a backlog of everything we've not been able to get from him because of the whole pandemic, and then we'll just do a catch-up show.
Yeah, we'll be like, all right, you need to come out here. You need to bring these 10 devices. You need to bring a goat joke for Ron. And
do you?
I mean, I think you probably should.
Yeah, should he? Really?
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know what? It's not that he should. I just think that he will. So I'm preparing you for it, Ron.
This is the bit that never ends. It goes on and on, my friends.
Part of his identity on Twitter is like built around goats now, and I think that started on this show, didn't it?
I mean, goats are very, very helpful in California. They're the reason sometimes hills don't catch fire, so we appreciate that.
We do appreciate the goats.
Appreciate their service.
The goats are the goat. Yep, they are. Okay, sorry, really bad dad joke. Let's do some app news. I've got one app news to share with y'all. Okay, so poll, raise your hand and fill in the multiple choice to let me know if you like Google's Now Playing feature or not. I like it.
Oh, sorry.
No?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I was trying to go see if I could get it up, and then I missed the cue, so I apologize.
It's okay. So I'm taking from this that I'm the only one that likes it. I think it's a cool feature. You guys don't like it?
No, I do. I think I like it. I do think I like it. I had to think about it.
Oh, I don't have a Pixel. What am I doing? I'm trying to look at this on a OnePlus. Of course I don't find it.
but you've had a Pixel, and this has been on the Pixel since the 2. I don't know. I find myself using it a lot, actually.
Oh, the one that shows up in the notification shade?
No, it shows up on your lock screen. So a song's playing.
Oh, sorry, the lock screen?
By so-and-so.
Technically, it shows up in the notification shade, too. It's supposed to, I thought. But I do miss that feature but the thing is, I haven't left the house much. I haven't eaten out in a year. And that's usually when I hear music in the background.
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, no restaurants or bars.
Well,
and I know what's playing at home.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I put on a playlist and I don't know who's playing. It's easier for me to just look at that than like unlock my device and jump into the app, Spotify, which we could talk about that after this. I want to talk to you guys about that for a second. Anyways, apparently, we know that feature has been a Pixel only feature since the Pixel 2. An XDA developer, Quinny899, created a hybrid exposed Magisk mod called Ambient Music Mod that actually ports over the functionality completely if you're on a rooted device and you have both exposed and Magisk installed on your device. They both need to be installed. Like I said, it's a hybrid feature. XDA has the walkthrough on installing this mod, but I just thought that was kind of neat. I thought that was one of those features that Google rolled out that I never expected to work as well as it actually does, considering it's not sending data online. It's all happening on device, and yet it always seems to know the song that's playing. Like that's total Google magic to me. That's like Google voodoo. I don't get how that works, but it does.
I don't get how they knew to like index different mixes of different songs and different like B-sides, because sometimes they'll get it down to that kind of level of specification.
Like blown away. I'm like, how do you know this? And supposedly this is on my phone. Like it's part of the data set that's stored on my phone and not in the cloud. Anyways, I think it's neat. And if you happen to have a rooted device, which is not a lot of you, but if you do, this is one way that you can install it on your phone that's not a Pixel. And yeah. But since I mentioned it, I just want to say that I have officially canceled YouTube Music. I'm waiting for the 30 days to end, and I'm a little frightened about the ads on YouTube. That might be my biggest regret, is getting ads on YouTube. But we are now on Spotify for our music service, and I gotta say, I am super annoyed. Maybe it's just impossible for me to be happy with a music service, but I like their algorithms around like analyzing my taste and offering new things. I feel like that's working for me, and the service itself is fine. What's so annoying to me is how it interplays with my Google Homes in the house. We don't have the full family account. We have the Duo account because we figured like our kids are just listening through ours anyways, so we'll just pay for my wife and I. And there is a way supposedly to set it up so that voice match is activated for me and for her. We are both signed into our own accounts in Spotify. And so if I'm in one room and I want to play something and she's in the other room wants to play something else, it would recognize our independent voices and use our independent Spotify accounts in order to play it. No matter what I do, it doesn't work. So I'm listening to something in the kitchen and the kid in the other room, one of my daughters in the other room, starts playing something. My music stops. It says Spotify is playing in the other room, and it's so annoying. It's one of those things that I was like, I didn't think about that, but whoa, this is like huge. This is actually a big deal.
Well, because you're not using it the way Spotify wants you. Spotify wants you to get that family plan. It wants you to create family kid profiles for your kids, and it wants you all to be in on that. On top of that, Google wants you and your daughters and your wife to all have your own accounts, wants all of your voices individually recorded. So it's actually working as it was meant to work, which is to push you toward falling into line.
Well,
to go get those accounts, go, get your daughters registered and all that. And I can understand how that's really frustrating. I agree with you. It's frustrating, but
I understand what you're saying. That is how the system is designed. The thing is, I'm doing that, right? We've got the family.
Well, now I feel like I just.
No. We don't have the full family account. So you're partially right. My kids do not have their own accounts. So when they fire off, I'm actually curious how this will be handled when I get the whole system working properly. But when they fire off a thing, a command, like I don't know which of our accounts that's going to default to. But I have it set up with voice match. We have the Duo account, which means both my wife and I have our own tied into the same account, have our own kind of profiles. And from what I understand, I've got it set up properly, but it's not tying in correctly. And it's just a pain in the butt. Like I don't want to have, when I want to play something, I don't want to have to open up my phone, go into Spotify and connect to the kitchen thing and then play from my phone. I want to do what I've always done, which is say, hey, play this thing. And it plays it. And then somebody in the other room says, hey, G, play this thing. And it plays it there too. And I never have to think about it. Right now, it's just annoying.
Well, I can chime in, not on the Spotify side, but on the YouTube Music side, because I'm even more perplexed by how it exists. Because in addition to at home on the Google Home, leaning into the algorithm and getting a myriad of language versions of songs, like getting the Frozen soundtrack in German and that sort of thing. Yeah. I was in the car this weekend with my kids, and as anyone with kids can attest, at least with toddlers, you just want to get the song they want on and as quickly as possible so they shut up. And they were going through a hi-ho phase, which is by the Dwarf Chorus from the soundtrack to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And so I'm like, great. So I'll ask for hi-ho, and then I'll get a bunch of Disney songs. And I'm in the car on YouTube Music through Android Auto. And for some reason, I get completely different results through the mobile app in the car than I do at home on the Google Home. Because on Sunday, they followed hi-ho by the Dwarf Chorus from the soundtrack Snow White and Seven Dwarves with I counted about 7 songs in a row. Yankee Doodle Dandy by James Cagney from the movie Yankee Doodle Dandy. No, it was Over There. I think it was a George M. Cohan patriotic hymn. Then there was a Bing Crosby song. Then there was it went into songs from the 30s. Instead of Disney songs. And I was like,
oh,
how is
interesting.
that helping me?
Weird categorization.
I was every time at the Google Home, I play a song from Snow White, I then get Frozen, I get Moana. It knows what our listening patterns is. I guess because I was in the car in a different context or whatever, but it gave me no other Disney songs. It only gave me 1930s hits.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like it bypassed the thread that was Disney. And it went to, the thread is this was made in the 30s, so you want other 30s songs. That's so interesting. Yeah, I hope I haven't made a bad decision. I hope I can figure this out, because that's going to be a really big bummer if this continues like that. It's gonna tick me off. Continue to tick me off. Yep. I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
I don't know either.
Great. Here we are, not knowing for y'all.
Not knowing about Android. That's what we are.
We are not knowing about anything. And
that's okay. People like us for us, I hope.
That's right. That's right. All right. Up next, a few of your emails. All right, Flo, you got the first one. AAA@twit.tv is where people wrote in like this one.
Now, this one is fun. Mike Reif wrote in with their daily driver phones. Mike writes, attached are all my Google daily driver phones. I just upgraded from a Pixel 2 to a Pixel 4a and wondered if my previous Google phones still worked. They all work and connect to Google and display my calendar. They are in cases to protect them from Jasonitis. Ron, thought you would like seeing a Nexus 5 still running and apps still updating. My Android phone before the Nexus 5 was actually the HTC Tilt 2 running an Android 2.2 Froyo ROM on Windows Mobile. Mike.
Yeah, apparently that was a possibility. You could do that. And then he attached this screenshot of the family of phones.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
All with a home screen that looks very similar. I hope that you've replaced those spark plugs, because you got some reminders there for that. Might want to replace those spark plugs. But cool.
He left it in so that we would know.
I do like the consistency. I do like the consistency across the screens, that there's a man who is looking for his app in the same place on every phone. And I respect that. Yeah,
I get it. I get it. Yeah. That's one of the things that's hardest for me in reviewing phones, is like it takes me so much time. Admittedly, it's better now than it ever has been. Google has tweaked the systems to make it easier, but it takes so much focused time and attention for me to set up a phone so that it has the apps in the right places for me. Sometimes I just give up and I'm like, no, I'm just going to use it the way the manufacturer ships it. And I never enjoy it as much as when everything's in the right place. So I totally get it. There it is. Mike, thank you for sending that in. I love seeing people's Android histories, especially when it's all laid out so nicely like you did. Bill Bowling wrote in to say, did you know that the Google TV app is not available on Microsoft's Xbox? Well, that is not so surprising since Play Movies and TV wasn't available either. However, YouTube TV and YouTube are. What the? It gets better. On YouTube TV, you can subscribe to HBO Max. However, any of the special early access movies like Godzilla vs. Kong or Wonder Woman 1984 cannot be viewed from within the YouTube TV app on any platform. However, you can install the HBO Max app, log in using YouTube TV as your subscription provider, and then you can see all of them. Show histories are not shared between the apps. So in a TV series, if you watch season 1, episode 1, 2, 3 on HBO Max, you then at a later date are on YouTube TV and go to the same show. It will not know that you watched any of those episodes. It just gets crazier from there. That sounds almost as annoying as Spotify not playing in 2 different rooms for me.
Almost as annoying.
Almost.
Can I pick up? That is annoying. Can I pick up a tangentially related in terms of Google TV and Chromecast conversation that happened today, also related to today's Apple announcements? Yes. Because a couple of my friends who are hardcore Apple ecosystem people were talking about the new Apple TV that got announced, which I don't know if you saw, but they announced a new Apple TV, new remote, yada yada. I didn't realize that device is like $200. Right, because it's like it's a set-top box with a lot of guts in it and all that sort of stuff. And so they're talking about it. I'm like, you guys know that like the new Chromecast can do all the stuff that you need for like $50. $50, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, and then one of my friends was like, right, but I'm not in on that ecosystem. I'm dialed into the Apple ecosystem. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to sell you on Chromecast. But what about it? What are you using? Right? I'm like, because they just added Apple TV Plus to Chromecast, so you can watch that content. And then he's like, well, lately mainly I just use it to AirPlay or whatever my yoga Zoom class onto the TV for my laptop. And I'm like, so casting? He's like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, yeah, that's literally what Chromecast was invented for. I'm like, so what else do you do? And he's like, well, I'm dialed into that ecosystem. I was trying to get him to tell me like what apps he uses, or like I bought my movies from iTunes, but you can sync everything on Movies Anywhere and get it on any device. Like I think it's really funny that when you're dialed into a platform, how you have blinders and you can't see any other alternative. And maybe there are things about Apple TV that are great. I haven't played with the Apple TV device lately in a while. Maybe there's a reason to stay on it. But as far as I could tell, like anything you do on Apple TV Plus, you can do on the Google TV Chromecast dongle, right? So I don't know. It's weird. That's a story for you.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're like really locked into HomeKit, like I could see why you would want to, but considering this conversation, that doesn't sound like what was going on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You were right, Ron.
I mean, you're right. They both do the exact same thing.
I think it's fear change.
Yeah, and Apple has done a really good job with their hardware of creating that ecosystem that he's talking about. This sense of a tightly integrated ecosystem, and whether this device does the same thing as a Chromecast or not. Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't have an Apple logo on it, which means it doesn't have that like Apple seal of approval or that Apple philosophy of that integration that they've come to expect or assume about Apple devices. I don't know. I'm kind of throwing that out there. I don't know if that's true, but that would be my guess. Because you're paying a lot more for one of these versus a Chromecast.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It doesn't have the Apple logo on it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, jeez. All right. Well, that said, you've all been waiting. You've been so patient, everyone who watches it. Now I want to give you this wonderful, wonderful gift. I know you've wanted the entire episode. You're just thinking all week since last Tuesday. You're like, who is going to get the email of the week?
That was so good, Ron.
It's a glorious, really glorious thing. The wait is over, my friends. David James Keeler, congratulations. You are the proud recipient of the email of the week. And David says, just listening to episode 519 and the discussion of removable batteries. As a paramedic, I don't have time to sit around and plug in my phone, even for 20 minutes. I frequently swap batteries all the time. When I go backpacking, a spare battery weighs less than a charger brick. And perhaps the most important feature of all is the fact that you can buy a new replacement battery so you can keep your phone running on full battery power instead of losing capacity over time. There's a huge population out there who don't have desk jobs and do not have convenient power supply access. In some jobs, 20 minutes is an eternity, and there's no time to wait to consistently have to plug into a wall, and we don't have to dangle around a power brick or find a way to keep both a phone and charger in the pocket. Anyways, I would love to see a bigger push to bring back removable batteries. I'm keeping with the Samsung Note 4 simply to keep the removable battery. And that is a fascinating use case, because for a moment I was going to say you don't have time to sit around and plug in your phone for 20 minutes, but you have time to fumble and pop out the battery, because I got to imagine the battery switch with a Note 4 isn't super clean, right? Like, you know, from what I remember of that phone and that device. But I do see the point of, if you don't have access to an outlet, you don't have access to that power, then a removable battery makes sense, and you don't want to plug in the cable to the external battery pack and that sort of thing. So I get it. But just the industry has moved so far away from removable batteries as an option that, and I don't know if it's a planned obsolescence thing or a way to keep us from giving us a reason to upgrade our phones, but that is a stunning use case of why removable batteries are important to a certain type of user.
Yeah, I'm looking at a help page on, and I'll put the link here in case you get to it in time, Burke, but I'm looking at a help page on Verizon for Galaxy Note 4 removing the battery. And it really does seem as simple as like popping off the back cover, like just prying the corner and then popping out the battery. So it's a pretty easy, fast switch. If you're a paramedic and you're in the vehicle while it's on transit somewhere, probably pretty easy for you to just flip it open, throw something in there and power up your phone, compared to like finding an outlet, pulling out the charger, plugging it in, waiting there for it and everything. I totally get it. I'm amazed that you're still rocking the Note 4.
I was going to say that, and also I'm scared because I want to know that your phone is updated and you're safe and you still have everything you need.
Sounds like he has everything he needs.
Blink. I'm blinking at the screen to just, that's why. Yeah. But bringing a removable battery would it would take away you wanting to toss out the phone to get a new one.
Well, that would certainly, keep you from upgrading. I get it. I don't know. I wonder if a phone, one of the massive battery phones, is like at some point you're going to have to upgrade the Note 4, right? Like it's 2014. So we're going on 7 years on this device. Like I'm amazed.
That's an eternity. Yeah,
I know.
That's crazy.
It really is.
At some point you'll have to upgrade.
Yeah, I was a different person when the Note 4 came out. Like completely different.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about like what 9. Okay, I just did a really quick search. TheDroidGuy.com has 9 best phones with a removable battery in 2021, and Samsung Galaxy S5. S5? Wait a minute. Galaxy, what are you talking about? That's old. Galaxy J7, I guess they're saying it still works. I don't know. Nokia 1, LG G5. Yeah, there's no new phones on here. These are all pretty old. So I don't know what you do when your phone is done.
Yeah.
Good question.
It's a question. It's a question for the person who sent in the email of the week. So you could have the email of the week if there is something that you feel as if you need to tell us about or that you need to yell at us about or whatnot. You can email us at AAA@twit.tv, or you can send us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. You can also email voicemails or email video mails. We haven't gotten any of those. It would be great if the email of the week was eventually a voicemail or some sort of video. No one has stepped up to that challenge, and I feel like that would even be like the super email of the week, that we would need a new sound effect.
Yeah, it would be like that, but with a ringing telephone that goes ring, ring, ring.
More of a fanfare. I'm thinking like marching band level. Yeah, like so. I'm just creating work for Burke now, so this is what
I should also specify. We do from time to time get voicemails and video mail.
Sure.
The problem is when you guys send them, sometimes you send them really long. They're like 3 to 4 minutes, and we can't play that. And it's like I don't have the time to edit it down. Sometimes I do, but usually I don't. So if you're going to leave us a voicemail or a video mail, keep it short. A minute. Like keep it at a minute, please.
Oh, I was gonna say 30. I was gonna say 30 seconds. Aim for 30 seconds and end up at a minute. That's your sweet spot. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, and you'll have way more likelihood of actually getting into the show and becoming the email of the week. All right. No more work for you, Burke. Take the rest of the night off after we're done here. We've reached the end of the episode of All About Android. I'm happy you like that. Yeah, we've reached the end of this episode. No more Android to talk about. There's probably plenty of Android news to talk about, but we can only fit so much into this show, and it's been a lot of fun. Flo, tell us what you're up to. How's your new gig going?
It's very busy. It's very busy, but busy is good. Busy's good. Yep. I have an author page at gizmodo.com. So if you want to go see my writings, you could just go to gizmodo.com and search for my name or Google it, whatever you want to do. I write for the site every day. Also, you can go to florenceion.com. If anybody saw the screenshot that just popped up, it said florenceion.com in the search query on gizmodo.com, which is very meta. I appreciate that.
There we go. There's all of
There we go. Articles. There we go. I'm also on the Relay FM network. Don't forget, I do a podcast over there with Andy and Notco. We talk a little more about Google. If you want to come over there and check us out, it posts after this podcast.
Awesome.
From me.
Thank you, Flo. Good work on Gizmodo and all the things that you do. Also, thank you to Ron. What do you want to talk about?
All the things I do. No, you can go to Twitter and Instagram at RonXO to follow me on both those platforms for my special brand of nonsense. But more importantly, check out Scorbit. We're in the Google Play Store. You can download the Scorbit app for Android as well as also in the iOS App Store. And keep track of your pinball scores. We just released a major new update to the app. Super excited. It works a lot smoother, a lot better. And we released some other cool stuff. You can find it all at scorbit.io, where we also sell devices that you can put into your pinball machine to connect them to the internet. We have lots of fun. We like pinball. So go check that out at scorbit.io.
Love it. Thank you, Ron. Also, big thanks to Burke at the studio for putting up with us and our constant jokes about Zoom and Skype. It's a back channel joke, but we keep him busy. We're always pulling the rug out from under him. So thanks for not giving up on us, Burke. Also, big thanks to Victor behind the scenes editing this show that you see each and every week. You wouldn't get this show without Victor doing his magic behind the scenes. So thank you, Victor, for that. As for me, I'm here on the Twit Network, just doing shows, participating, being on shows, producing shows, checking out the IRC chat and the Discord chat right now. It's a fun job. So just go to twit.tv. You'll see me on other shows like Tech News Weekly and doing a whole lot more. Don't forget to continue wearing your mask, please. Appreciate that you're doing that. And thank you for this week's episode, for joining us for this week's episode of All About Android. We publish this show every Tuesday evening. So all you really need to do is go to twit.tv/AAA. If you haven't done that already, you go there, you subscribe, audio, video, YouTube. Don't really care. Just subscribe. That way you get the episode and each and every week, and you don't even have to think about it. And yeah, that's it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time on All About Android. Bye-bye.
I'm waving furiously. Goodbye. Have a great week.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode. If you would like to check out more about tech news, then you should check out Tech News Weekly with me, Micah Sargent, my co-host Jason Howell, where we interview the people making and breaking the tech news every week.